Mukama yeebazibwe. Tugenda ku Hebrews chapter 9. Kama tujja mu maaso go omutonzi w'eggulu n'ensi, tukwebazaako ekisa ky'otuwadde okulabako n'ekya mu maaso go okugabana ku kigambo kyo. Tusaba Katonda n'okigambo n'atuwa omwoyo ow'amagezi ekisobola okumanya n'okutegeera bino tubye tugabana tubitambuliremu, tukolenga okwagala kwe kuli, tubeere abakozi b'ekigambo, twagaze ekigambo kyo, twagaze okussa ekimu naawe, erinnya lyo ligulumizibwe litenderezebwe mu linnya lya Yesu Kristo Katonda bwe tusabidde. Amiina. Hebrews chapter 9, the design of the chapter. Kugamba engeri design eno chapter still teyawukana kuba naziri endala, still akyayogera ku priesthood, akyayogera ku priest wa Kristo. So the design of the chapter is the same as the two preceding chapters, to show that Christ as high priest is superior to the Jewish high priest. So the apostle had shown this. Kugamba apostle yali already amaze okugamba nti Christ ali superior to the Jewish high priest, nga considering his rank, yali amaze okukiraga his rank, and then he also considered the dispensation. So considering in regard to the rank and to the dispensation of which he was a mediator, or the covenant of which was a mediator, the apostle had already shown that he was superior. In chapter 8 yali abalaze according to the covenant, we are going that the covenant of Christ is a better covenant, or the covenant which he mediates. So in regard to the covenant, he had shown that Christ was greater because the covenant of Christ was better than the old covenant. And then in regard to the rank, as in previous chapters. Now in this chapter he proceeds to show that this was also true in reference to the efficacy of the sacrifice which he made. So ayongera n'okulaga nti Yesu asukkulumye ku priests abalala oba mu Jewish system, n'oba otunudde sacrifice gyakola, sacrifice yesukkulumye ku sacrifices ze baakolanga. And in order to this, he gives an account of the ancient Jewish sacrifices. Kati osobola okubalaga kino eno mu chapter awa account oba abalaga ancient sacrifices aba ancient Jewish ze baakolanga, and he compares them with that made by the Redeemer. Nazikomparinga ne sacrifice Kristo gye yakola ku musalaba. So the essential point is that the former dispensation was a mere shadow. So the main point kyalagamu in the chapter that the former dispensation, or the old covenant, and what was contained in it was a shadow, it was a type, or it was a figure, and that the later one was the real and efficacious and efficacious and efficacious. So the chapter comprises the illustration of this general idea and the following points. So abalaga kineno kyetwabana is showing them that this dispensation, or this covenant which Christ had brought, was the real thing, and the other one, what was in the old covenant, was the image or the shadow of this. Now Colossians chapter 4, these things are the shadow of the real thing which is to come, that which came with Christ. Kati kino kigambo efficacious kiva mu kigambo effect or effective or efficacy, being that something is successful in reproducing the desired result. Kubanga ekintu kiri successful in producing a result eri desired, oba kangeze nga bwe kaba kambi osogamba nti kali efficacious, kasala nga kasobola okusala bulungi nga bw'oyagala. Kati so nti kyagezaako kutegeeza wano eno. So the essential point is that the former dispensation was mere shadow or figure, and that the later was real and efficacious. This later dispensation, or the new covenant, it was the real thing of what was in the old covenant, and it was efficacious. It was successful at producing the result that was intended. Then verse 1 to 5 is a description of the ancient tabernacle and the utensils that were in it. Kubanga nkugambye nti ali mu kukozesa akozesa sacrifices z'omu covenant enkadde kubanga ayagala balaga busukkulumu bwa sacrifice ya Kristo gye yakola. Kati he does this by laying or by giving an account of the ancient Jewish sacrifices n'azicomparinga ne sacrifice Kristo gye yakola. Kyagezaako balaga. Kati verse 1 to 5 agamba now even the first covenant had regulations for worship and an earthly place of holiness and an earthly place of holiness, or the sanctuary, or the tabernacle. For a tent was prepared, the first section in which were the lampstand and the table and the bread of the presence. It is called the holy place. Behind the second curtain was a second section called the most holy place, having the golden altar of incense and the ark of the covenant covered on all sides with gold, in which was a golden Aaron holding the manna, or a golden pot holding the manna, and Aaron's staff that budded, and the tablets of the covenant. And the tablets of the covenant. Above it were the cherubim of glory overshadowing the mercy seat. Of these things we cannot now speak in details. Kati verse 1 to 5 aba describingira nga tabernacle y'omu old covenant bwe yali the tabernacle Katonda gyagamba Musa okuzimba nti tabernacle yo Musa yagizimba. Tabernacle yali yawulamu emirundi ebiri era abantu bwe bazimba ne gundi yali e Yerusalem the temple ekifaananyi kye kimu, so yali yawulamu emirundi ebiri. The first section it was the holy place, then over that section yali yawulibwamu curtains. Kati oluvannyuma lwa curtain ngawo section eyokubiri, that second section yali the holy of the holies. So mu buli section ababulidde ki ekyalimu era nga bino nga bwe byalimu. Katonda yagamba Musa biteekamu nga byefaananyiriza ekiri mu ggulu. Kati waneeno kyabalaze waneeno abadde agezaako describinga biki ebyalimu, the utensils that were in the tabernacle. Byonna mu biri mu Leviticus mu ndagaano enkadde osobola obiraba bw'oba ng'ogisomye. Then in verses 6 to 7 he shows them a description of the service in the temple that was performed and then particularly that performed by the high priest once a year. Ngamba balaga ki mirimu gye bakolanga mu temple naye nga ateeka attention oba particularly ku obuweereza high priest we yakola mu buli mwaka omulundi gumu. Sagamba these preparations having thus been made, the priests go regularly into the first section performing their ritual duties. Now ba priests bakolanga emirimu gyabwe egya bulijjo gye bali bateekebwa okukola nga bagikolera mu first section nga tebagenda eri mu second section. Agamba but into the second only the high priest goes, and he but once a year, and not without taking blood, which he offers for himself and for the unintentional sins of the people. Kati abagamba nti eri mu pati ey'okubiri eya tabernacle oba the other place which is referred as the most holy place in the tabernacle, or the holy of the holies, high priest yekka ye yagendangayo ate ng'agendayo omulundi gumu mu mwaka ate ng'asooka kukola sadda. So he first made atonement both for himself and for the people nga tannaba kugenda. Otherwise singa yagendangayo nga takoze bulungi atonement yali yafiirangayo, kubanga era bafiiranga kyona tebwe yalinga agendayo yagendanga bamusibye olujegere ku ggulu nti singa afiirayo basikayo musike ne batagendayo nabo kufiirayo. So bekityo bwe kyali, singa yagendangayo nga takoze atonement oba nga takoze nga bw'alina kukola yafiirangayo, kubanga the other one was a place where the presence of God was. Kubanga okusinza ku ngeri gye bazimamu tabernacle nga bwe it is made nga bwe biri mu ggulu. So that place gye bayita holy of the holies, it is where God's presence is. So if he went in God's presence without making atonement for his sins when he was unholy or unclean, yafiirangawo. Kati so kino ko kyagezaako balaga ekifaananyi ekya tabernacle eyo nga bwe yali, then ne services abakolerangamu. They wanatulidde service ya high priest. Then verse ey'omunaana ka 6 to 7 kyekyo kyabalaga. Then 8 to 10 all this was typically abalaga that this as nga bwabyogeddeko waggulu the structure of the tabernacle na buli kimu ekyagikolebwamu n'emirimu byonna it was a typical and symbolic and was a standing demonstration that the way into the most holy place heaven was not yet fully revealed. Kwamba balaga nti no nga bwe tulabye nti wano eno nti abasosi n'abalaga structure yaki ye tabernacle bwe yali. Then 6 to 7 abalaga emirimu egyakolebwangamu nti wano eno mu first section ba priests be bagendangamu nga bakola emirimu gyabwe regularly, naye eri ewokubiri high priest kale yagendangayo omulundi gumu. Kati kino eno kyali symbolic oba kyali kina kye kiraga kubanga byonna byakolebwa mu ndagaano enkadde byali symbolic of something. Kati kino kyali kiraga nti the way to the most holy of the holies was not yet fully opened oba it was not yet fully understood. The fact that in high priest yagendanga mu the holy of the holies omulundi gumu omwaka ate nga tosokola atonement byonna byali symbolic. Kati so it was symbolizing that the place or the way to the holy of the holies was not yet opened. Nsonga lwaki yagendangayo omulundi gumu mu mwaka.